Yo, yo. Welcome back to Talk with Tay podcast, man. We back with another episode. This is episode 2 of season 2. And yeah, man, today I'm here to talk about something that, for a while I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand what was going on because I sometimes still deal with it, right? And there was a phase early on in my grief stage where during the acute stage, right? Which means it's the very raw, very fresh, dysregulating stage of grief where everything is just like, what I mean? Everything is very fresh, very sensitive. Nothing feels good about it, I can say now, being in the integrated phase, it's a lot, I'm not gonna say it's easier, but I think, just life and your brain, your body gets used to the feeling of that person not being here. Still hurts and everything, but during that acute stage, I went through a very, very tough phase where I couldn't think about anything positive when it came to my mother, right? Nothing. Memories, her laugh, her smile, nothing. All I could think about was the trauma that I went through with her, watching her in hospitals, just a lot of things, right? Especially leading up to her, a lot of things from my childhood and a lot of things leading up to her death and watching her die slowly. Those are the only memories that I could, replay over and over. And what I learned, about this phase is that it's something called a trauma bias, right? And in the acute stage of grief, like I said, everything is very dysregulating to you. Everything is sensitive. Shit don't feel good at all. Anything, the slightest thing can trigger you. And what the brain is doing during that time, man, is really it's telling you that these bad memories are a lot safer than you thinking about the good ones when it comes to this person that you're missing. And that sounded kind of crazy to me at first, but now, after, just doing a little bit more research, and for the longest I was so confused about why I was going through that. Like, you know what I mean? Why can I think about nothing good when it comes to my mother? Why am I dealing with this right now? People would ask me, right? My ex at the time, my ex-girlfriend, her family at the time, they would ask me like, "Tell me something good about her." Cuz we only hear you talk about, or if you even talk at all, right? But I couldn't do it. I couldn't talk about it, but knowing that now that that's a normal thing because when you have to relive, a reason why those bad memories are safer in the moment is because when you relive those good memories, it reminds you that they're no longer here, especially in that early stage, right? And for me, I went through something where I was uh I was going through bereavement dreams. You know how people say if somebody visits you in a dream, they trying to, it's a good thing and all of this. Yeah, I couldn't no. I couldn't deal with that, and be honest with you. I went through times where my mother would come visit me at dreams and I would be scared to see her, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would be scared to see my mother because I would have to wake up and relive the fact that she's not here, right? It felt so real. It was so intense, man. It felt like she was, you know what I mean? It felt like she was there. And then when I would wake up, I would be back to reality. And I went through during that time, bro, I would literally cry in my sleep. Like I would be crying in my sleep, a deep sleep. I could feel myself crying, right? And I'm seeing my mom and I just couldn't, you know what I mean? I couldn't shake it, bro. Like I would literally be in tears. I had a lot of trouble sleeping during that time. I would jump in my sleep. I would wake up scared, you know what I mean? And people was trying, and at the time, like I said, I couldn't really explain You know what I mean? I couldn't really explain what that was, like what I was feeling. All I know is it didn't feel good, and I would just cry. I would just cry myself to sleep sometime, and then dream about her. And I used to think that I didn't understand why I was running from that. This is my mother, right? This is the person that I'm hurting so bad over, and I don't want to see her in my dreams. So that bothered me for such a long time, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, because I couldn't explain it to people, and that was the killer part, because I knew it was nobody would understand, right? That don't make sense to people. People visiting you is supposed to be a good thing, right? Now, my mom was sending signs to me all the time, man. Other people would notice it, and I would just be like, you know, I don't. It was almost like I didn't want her to visit because I knew she was gone. You know what I mean? I couldn't accept the fact of just reliving that shit over and over, going to sleep, dreaming about my mom. It's a happy time, and I wake up, boom. You know what I mean? That shit hit me it hit me deep in my chest. Like, damn, she gone, bro. And I still deal with it right now, if we being honest. It's a lot easier, I would say. Still feels the same. I don't cry. I don't actually cry in my sleep anymore, but I do wake up just feeling uneasy for sure, man. I wake up feeling, just like that, back to reality. Like, damn, you really not here, man. And I'm just so curious as to, why nobody talks about it, because it's a very real experience. And I just man, it's so hard just knowing that I have to keep continuing, knowing that, she's just no longer here, man. It bothers me every day, right? I'm definitely at a point now where, I could talk about her in a light where, I don't always cry, right? It's easier to talk about her, but I'm finding myself working my way back to the good memories of my mother, because my mom was, she was the joy to a lot of people, and especially me, you know what I mean? Why not? But it really is hard, man. You think about so much when it comes to the last moments, seeing her in the hospital lifeless, you know what I mean? Not being able to feed herself, not being able to walk, and all of that shit, right? You think about all of those months that went by. It takes a while for those moments to, they'll never erase, right? But it takes a while for the moments to become easier to deal with. And right now, it's easier to deal with, but it doesn't feel good still, right? It still feels very just sharp, man. Like real sharp. Like, ugh, man. This integrated phase that I'm in now is I don't know, man. I still feel the same about it, but my body doesn't react to certain things like it used to, right? Somebody said anything about, you know what I mean, about they said the word mom. Boy, that shit would have sent me like to a whole nother universe up here, bro. Now I see it. I mean, now I hear something, or my triggers now at this point, right? I still deal with it, you know what I mean? But it's not as sensitive no more. I can honestly say that, because right, even right now, you know what I mean? It got to a point where, I couldn't talk without crying, you know what I mean? Do this, but you know, it's just one of those things that God has, prepared me for, to really express how this makes me feel, and I'm gonna be talking about this for, a very long time, because is who I am now. You know, I'm still trying to find that person. I was looking at a picture the other day of myself and I was just like, damn, I missed that nigga right there. I missed that nigga right there. I see a different person right now. When we're not talking about because I'm older or evolving or doing different things, it that has nothing to do with it. But I just see something different in that person right there in comparison to now when I look at myself. It's still trying to find, still trying to find that light again. It's gonna take some time, but I'm extremely blessed. I wake up blessed every day to be able to do certain things and, be stable and all of that, right? I would never take that for granted. But again, when I look at it, when I look at old pictures of myself, it's like, damn, man, like that's not you no more. It's a very hard thing to really explain, but you just have to experience it, man. One day a lot of people will experience that, losing their favorite person. And it's gonna change everything about you, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. Now I think about this is really hard to say. I'm kind of glad that my mother is no longer here in certain ways. For certain reasons, I'm glad that she's no longer here. You know, her death has really taught me about people, about life, and just about the truth of what really life is. Be honest with you, man. I see things on a whole different perspective now. When it comes to what this life really means. Um, I used to value shit that didn't nobody, right? That nobody gives a fuck about. I'm gonna just say it like that. I was chasing after things that didn't matter. I was people pleasing, being taken advantage of. Motherfuckers is, not appreciating me and me trying to prove my worth to other people, right? Her being gone now, it taught me about how people actually love me for real and actually fuck with me. And my mom was always the one that would tell me these things as I was growing up about how people really ain't gonna be there for you when shit get hard. You know what I mean? And it's people that you least expect. That you least expect. And very eye opening. I'm just glad that I'm glad that my mother no longer has to suffer. I think I'm getting closer to peace when it comes to that. I wouldn't want her here today. I know that I miss her dearly and I talk about her all the time and I miss her every day, right? But mm-mm. I'm glad she's not here dealing with the same shit, bro. That's something I thought I would never say. You know what I mean? It wasn't nothing that I would do or say a little while ago that would be like, man, I want her here. Now, granted, I do still feel like that. I wish she was here so we can do things together and I can do stuff for her and everything. But it's just like she had to leave me. She had to leave this earth in order for me to get to this point and to do things like this. That's kind of weird. I think about it all the time. It had to happen this way, right? When you take a step back and really, just look at it for what it is, it's very, very humbling experience. It's very humbling, very lonely, very quiet. My mother used to always tell me something and she was like, it's just me and you. You know what I mean? She meant that. She would tell me that all the time, man, and I couldn't understand it. You know what I mean? I didn't know what she meant by that because now I see it now. Like it really was just me and her. I barely talk to my family anymore. I stopped playing baseball. Nobody cared. That's all people cared about when it came to me. Nobody cared about other stuff that I'm doing. And I just, a lot of people are just not in my life no more. You know what I mean? She used to tell me too, man. She used to tell me. And I loved, I love people so much that I was just like, man, what is she talking about? Why is she saying that, man? And I see it, and I just see it so clearly now. And I'm glad, I'm just glad she's still able to, you know, walk me through this journey and lecture me without even knowing, right? Her wisdom constantly still dropping on me to this day. I'm gonna tell you what this shit feel like. Losing a parent, bro. Like losing my mother. This shit feels like your soul just left, man. Like literally, bro. It feels like your soul just left. And now you just getting this brand new you getting this brand new spirit and you don't know what to do with it. That's what it feel like. And I hate that sometimes I hate it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes I hate that shit because it's only been 4 years, man, and I'm still trying to figure out I'm still trying to figure out who I am again. That's the real. That's the real. And it hurts because a lot of people really left my side. I'm gonna be honest with you. Couldn't deal with it, couldn't hang, couldn't accept this part of me. That hurts. That shit hurt, bro. That shit hurt like a motherfucker for real. I ain't gonna lie to you. That shit hurt. That this was a deal breaker for people. Me losing my mother and being sad about that shit, being fucked up, being hurt about it. That's where people drew the line with, at. That's where people drew the line at with me. This too much for them to handle. Crazy, man. Crazy. Again, I'm glad it happened though. I'm glad it happened because it showed me how strong I am with this shit, bro. Like a lot of people couldn't walk in my shoes, man. A lot of people could not walk in my shoes when it can nobody deal with this, bro. I know nobody can deal with this that I know. Damn, mama, I miss you so much. I miss you so much. See that? Like I can say that now without crying. Like that's strength right there. You feel me? That's strength. A lot of people didn't think I would even make it this far, after she passed away. You know what I mean? I'm still rolling. I'm still doing, great things, still pushing on. You know what I mean? A lot of people threw their judgment on me, man. A lot of people threw their judgment on me. Grief is terrible without a support system. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you don't have support, good luck. Some people make it out, some people don't. And it's so funny that, I talk about this and it's a lot of people out here who really go through it like me. It is a bittersweet feeling because it hurts you, but it also strengthens you for what's next in your life. You don't understand nothing that's happening, during the storm. Nothing makes sense, bro. Everything crumbles. Everything crumbles when you going through this shit. And you just looking like, you know what I mean? Like when is the door gonna open? and you don't see it, but you start to see it slowly after a while, man, because when you grieving, that's not who you are when you grieving, dog. That shit is a lot of anger, a lot of sadness, man. And you start looking back and you start understanding and realizing at certain phases what you were literally doing. I ain't been doing shit these last few years for real. I graduated school, I was playing ball, I was been acting and all of that, but it felt like I ain't really been doing nothing. So as I'm trying to learn myself, who this new person is, it's very difficult, man. Like I'm in my late 20s now. You know what I mean? Like what the fuck am I doing trying to figure out who I am? And I've been on this earth for this long. That's a very confusing thing to deal with because again, it changes everything about your life, man. Yeah, man. I just, grief is terrible, bro. Grief makes you feel like you will never like it just makes you feel like you will never be happy about certain shit for real. Nothing I don't anything that's good in your life will always be some sadness around it now. No matter what it is. You really can't enjoy anything. Seriously, you can't enjoy anything 100%. Like there's going to be something that just makes you feel like no matter what it is, no matter what it is, bro, that little piece is always going to be in the back of your mind. And that's what's so funny about it because it's like, that's what it is for real. It's nothing that you can do about it either. Like, a lot of people tell you heal, go to therapy, journal, all of that shit. That's cool. Like I'm not against any of those things for real, but it don't work like that for everybody, man. Majority of people, it don't work like that. And you can't explain it to people because that's a broken record, man. You gonna be repeating the same shit. And after a while, people just really get tired. They don't want to hear that shit, man. They don't want to hear about grief. It's too much for them. No, they don't want nothing to do with that after a while. Cause in their brain, they think, damn, you still going through it. You still dealing with it. But it's a life, it's a lifetime. It's a lifetime. I've been thinking about there's been a lot of obviously unfinished conversations with me and my mother, unfinished time together. And I just think about, I miss her so bad, but what would I even tell her or talk to her about now if she was, what is it that I actually want to talk to her about now? So much, so much I don't even know where I would start for real. I think about that pretty often, like where would I yeah, I don't know. Let me just leave it at that. Shit suck, man. Be honest with you, this shit suck. This shit suck, bro. like I don't even be wanting to talk to people like that no more. Everybody now always feel like they gotta tiptoe around with me and be fake and shit, man. I'd rather you just not fuck with me, bro. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'd rather you just not fuck with me. Don't say nothing to me. You ain't gotta do none of that. You can please you can stay where you at, bro. Yeah. Grief makes people look at you different, man. It just puts you in a fucking weird ass box that you don't want to be in. And now everybody got their own opinions about you. You can't even be a normal motherfucker with people. They always think it's gotta be, you know what I mean? They always gotta slither around and just do little shit. It's crazy, bro. Like somebody asks me now how I'm doing, I'm not telling you a damn thing about me. Don't ask me nothing. I'm not telling you. Definitely, I'm just not gonna tell you. So I just try to. I'm trying, man. I'm getting there. You know what I mean? I'm getting there. I see myself getting stronger every day. But it's just, yeah, it's just, yeah, man, yeah. We steady grieving though. We steady grieving. We steady getting better, no matter how long it's gonna take. This is my life now. I have to get better. Things could be a lot worse. I could be in a totally different position in life. You know what I mean? So the motivation from now is just knowing that I still got some drive in life. To accomplish different things and go after things. That's what keeps me going. Just knowing that I still have the strength to continue to push through life, regardless of how it may seem or what people think, right? So that's just where I'm at with it, man. Yeah, dog. I'm fighting this fight, bro. I'm fighting this shit every day. And ain't nobody gonna understand it. I don't want people to understand it no more. Like I said, don't ask me nothing about it, bro. Don't ask me a damn thing. Don't ask me nothing. I'm not, yeah. Don't ask me nothing. All right, man. All right. That's enough. Appreciate y'all for tapping in again. Like I said, we back with fresh perspectives in this season of life, in this season of the podcast. It's, it's a lot of things that I can speak about now. Now that I have a lot of clarity when it comes to what I was actually dealing with these last few years. A lot of it was just worrying about the sadness, the anger, and the resentment, everything, you know what I mean? But there's some very factual points that I need to talk about when it comes to the different phases that I was in up until now. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I'm gonna be back with y'all, man. I appreciate y'all again for tapping in.